year is 1919. Henry R.H. Hall, an English Egyptologist and historian, is in modern-day Iraq conducting the earliest large excavation of an area known as Tel al-Ubaid. This excavation was quite interesting and quite significant for multiple reasons. For starters, Tel al-Ubaid was able to prove that ancient Mesopotamian civilization predated what historians believed to originally be the start of civilization by thousands of years. The archaeological and scientific community more or less had their world rocked when they were finding evidence of civilization that dated back all the way to 6500 BC, nearly 3,000 years before what was originally thought to be the beginning of civilization. And while that discovery in itself is amazing and mind-boggling, it's not quite unexplained. However, some of the other discoveries from Tel al-Ubaid definitely are, with one of the most notable being the lizard people statues. Off the bat, like I was mentioning, the timeline significance of these artifacts are insane, because as I mentioned, these artifacts are from the Ubaid period, which is believed to be one of the earliest stages of Mesopotamian civilization, and actually predates the rise of Sumerian city-states, which in itself is extremely notable. However, one of the more glaring details about these figurines is the fact that they don't quite represent any one thing. They appear to have a humanoid body, although the head of these statues are unmistakably lizard-like or reptilian. And it's that one detail alone that has sparked so much controversy and so many theories on what these statues could have possibly meant. The statues themselves are actually only made of clay and are typically anywhere from 1 to 5 inches tall. And impressively, these small clay structures, as I've alluded to, have literally survived over 7,000 years of history, which in itself is impressive enough. Although, it doesn't answer the mystery. Many of these statues that were found depict a female body, some of which even demonstrating a child breastfeeding on this reptilian creature. And while some male examples of these statues exist, most of the examples found do represent women. Although the gender of these reptilians is hardly the most distinguishing factor, as their head really paints an interesting picture. These statues appear to have some sort of large elongated snout, thin slit-like eyes, and similar slit-like nostrils. But interestingly, on top of just having that sort of classic reptilian shape, they also have elongated skulls. Some of these statues also carry accessories, depicting these creatures wearing clothes, jewelry, and some even holding scepters or staffs, only adding to the mystery. And that mystery has bred countless crazy theories, with some being more out there than others. One of the most tame and cute theories about these sculptures is the belief that these are simply just children's toys that were made in ancient times and they are not to be taken seriously whatsoever. And while that's funny and I guess not completely impossible, it's important to understand that the context in which these sculptures were found. It's been reported that these sculptures were found alongside pottery, tools, and other ritual objects, meaning that there's strong reason to believe that this sculpture had some sort of cultural or religious significance. And while that doesn't debunk the ancient toy theory, I don't think it helps it. Other experts believe that these statues do have significance, but they are more symbolic, not actually representing any one true creature, and that school of thought has also bred the hypothesis of these sculptures potentially representing deities that these ancient peoples worshipped. Although, once again, your guess is as good as mine on how accurate that may or may not be. However, one of the most out there theories that isn't not believed is the hypothesis that these statues must represent alien life. And it's believed by some that ancient peoples around this time were visited by aliens to help jumpstart civilization. And they used the establishment of the Mesopotamian and Sumerian civilizations that followed this discovery as part of their reasoning. Regardless, whether or not you believe that these statues represent ancient aliens that visited us to help jumpstart civilization, or whether you believe these were simply children's toys that stood the test of time, the one thing that we can all agree on is that we simply do not know what these statues are supposed to represent.